Welcome back, brothers and sisters, surface dwellers of the blue planet. My name is Stephen Koss, and this is going to be Chapter 3, Creating Top Mind Awareness, from book number 5, called Thought Out Loud is a Vision, Emotion Colors It In. And I realize I haven't put it out yet. I'm looking at May 1st. So if you want it early, just throw your email in the comment section and I'll shoot it to you. So creating top mind awareness, starting with an understanding that the power is in right now. You know, not in 30 minutes, not in 2 weeks. When things really work out, you know, if I just got the time to put all this in order first, and then, you know, the power is in now. But do we seldom live there? You know, most times, I mean, I'm guilty of this. I'm living in the past and beating myself up about certain life decisions I had made that if I would have just did differently, I wouldn't be worrying in the future of how I'm going to get through doing this job when I should have took the other one. Now I'm beating myself up. Or if I would have just been better with this personal relationship, I wouldn't be by myself right now. And it's like you're going back and forth worrying or reliving an event more in your day than, I mean, if you had it in a pie graph, that's what you'd be spending in the now. And a lot of times we're just living in the past and the future and not in good places. So it's like recognizing that the power of emotion has and where it's taking you in the now. Because we already discussed about harnessing thoughts and their power. And now we're dealing with this other animal. So once we can recognize that, now we can start to focus on harnessing it. So in chapter 3, and these are very short chapters, only a couple pages, so that's why I was making it interactive so we can discuss these topics a little further. I talk about being less particle and more wave. And just a good metaphor that I'm thinking about is, you know, a lot of people want to live here, and I want to live here. So a good metaphor for that in Genesis is let there be light. And I always, so you think right there, let there be light. There was a thought, shot out a wave, spoken, there was light particle. And then I saw this one in Isaiah, I the Lord am maker of all things, stretching out the heavens by myself and spreading out the earth all alone. And I always had this thought as a kid. I don't even know if I shared this with many people or if they even remember if I did. But I would always think of, what if there was nothingness? Just complete black nothingness. And you were there looking on it. It's almost like if a tree falls in the wood and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? It always would boggle my mind, and it's weird that I can remember it, you know, at 42 from something that I would hear as a child. And then as an adult. And if you were by yourself and you were going to create, it just goes back to the equation. 1 divided by 1 equals 1. But people seldom want to live there. And that's what we're trying to figure out, is how to create this top mind awareness. If we go just back to, you know, a couple Bible verses, I grew up in Catholic school. My mother and stepfather became ordained ministers. We're taught that we were made in God's image, but we were built to serve. Right? A father who we could never measure up to or even surpass. It would be like, you did wrong. You are a sinner, but I forgive you. And this is like, goes against everything. If I'm alone and I'm having that thought of, if there's just nothingness, complete nothingness, but as my consciousness is there as thought, it's a waved particle. Would I tell this amongst whatever I created, that you could never be as good to me when your last name is God and your first name is man? Well, you haven't had this top mind awareness ever. We don't ever think of it like that. So how can we start thinking of that? And, you know, this is non-blasphemy terms. That we are worthy to live in the kingdom of whatever we want to create. So if we have free will and we want to create, a good metaphor, it's like, first of all, what is top mind awareness? Example. Why does Coke advertise? So you can just go back to chapter 1 and 2 and understand that message. You know, Coca-Cola at Christmas time is going to be on your top mind awareness. So how do we harness it? Clearly define your life's purpose. Well, what's that? Something you got a passion for? That you would do on Friday night instead of going out to bars, restaurants, or ball games? Something that just fulfills you and spills out. And we all know it might not be as much advertised as Coke, but you hear that voice in your head and you feel it. Some kind of dream. It keeps resonating, keeps coming up at times. It's like, I was watching the Tom Segura stand up and he was talking about hating dream killers. Because his mom was telling him to get a job at the post office, and he's like, the crazier the better. He's like, this guy's like, I want to open up a hot dog stand and sell boots. Oh yeah? Awesome, man. Let's make it happen. And if you think about that just in a blip the first time you hear it, obviously it's a crazy combination. It's a weird business niche. Right? But if we break it down further, it's just trying you to feed somebody and clothe them. Right? It's breaking down to 1 divided by 1 equals 1. And this is like, when I'm talking about top mind awareness. See from different perspectives at your fingertips if one chooses to, because we have free will. But creating a top mind awareness in a modern world is difficult. It needs to be fed into that daily routine. So, your daily routine again. I'm big, obviously, on the whiteboard and talking about writing things down, and just get a 3x5 index card. That's number 2. And write your life's purpose out on it. Put it with your debit cards and your credit cards so you see it every day. How long do you think that could take you? And then once it's done, congrats. You just joined the 1% of humanity that does that exercise. I mean, isn't that where you want to live? Isn't that where we all want to live? And if it's crazy, you're like, I'm going to write down, you know, my mom told me recently, she's like, I want to open a kite shop on the east coast of Florida. Sounds outlandish. More outlandish, the better, right? People will see it. I mean, not like you can show your life's purpose card to people. They're not going to ask to see it. You know, your COVID vax and your life purpose card? Hold on. But it's just like, it's the reminder. It's the constant reminder. It's that you had a thought, you heard it. It came out of your physical. It looks back at you. There's a lot of power in that. And creating a top mind awareness of that, you'll see the change in frequency. If that makes sense. But like for me, I'll share it with you. It's very simple. It's like life's purpose for me, or as I like to call it, purpose and mission. Raise the vibration. Very simple, tiny little things you can do to raise the vibration. Quickly achievable. See, like going to multi-level marketing events when I was younger, wanting to be a millionaire, make capitalist migraine. And what you can institute immediately, because we want, especially now, we want instant results, what we seek. This can be done immediately. Super achievable. It's like, for instance, I went into Starbucks and I hear out of the loudspeaker as I pull it, "It's a great day at Starbucks. Can I start you off with any food?" And it was like, whoa. Felt like I walked into Shepherd's on Clearwater Beach. "Welcome to Shepherd's!" I was like, I need a coffee, lady. And I come around. This younger woman was just smiling, her teeth were out, and she looked good, and she was just vibrating, just this pleasantness, and she asked where I was going, how I was doing, and empathized with me. It was much more of an involvement. You could just tell it was coming out of her. And when she handed my coffee to me, I was like, I really appreciate your kindness today. I needed something like that, and I could see it's genuine. So like, to just recognize that and acknowledge it, you know, raise that frequency and vibration when we can with the simplest of things like that, can be done immediately. And it's like when you start to see yourself immediately in another, whether they're lacking some love or maybe they're winning. And I can either, you know, give or receive and live through them. But I have to have that at a top mind awareness. Otherwise, the mortal man kicks in, first name man, and you're grumpy and you're hurting, you're in pain, and you're not going to get that ambassador. But like, another thing I do is I love feeding people. You know, nothing makes me happier. But when you get food that's sourced correctly, you know, it's made with intention, it's served with honor, you know, that has power of healing in it, of raising the vibration of restoration. Or at times I'll just write inspirational quotes. Just a smile big, shine bright. You'd be surprised to know that our most successful marketing tool when I was on the gym business tour across America was a mailer that was bright yellow and just had this smiley face. A simple smiley face, and just smile big, shine bright. When you're rolling 100 and you're just got paid, it's Friday, and you got your nicest clothes on and the weather's just right, you're meeting everybody up and nothing's in your way. You have a top mind awareness that it's all good. I'm smiling big, shining bright. So just writing just inspirational things sometimes to people. Think about back to when I went to grade school and my mom would pack our lunch, and sometimes you would get a note in there. There's $1 here for a soda. But it's nice that somebody's thinking about you and they made it in a physical presence, thought, wave, particle. It has a lot of substance to it, and it helps churn that top mind awareness. And I get that it's, you know, it's easier said than done. Living here, and, you know, even myself, I struggle with isolation, you know, lack of love and support. And it's like, if you're hurting, how can you live in a top mind awareness and truly think it's genuine? And for me, one is just recognizing, first off, that we were talking at the beginning of the video of how powerful emotion is. And if I want to stay there or not, and I need to like say it out loud that I'm in lack of, you know, this and I need it. That's number one. And then two, going, I don't have to live here always. You know, my last name is. So creating a top mind awareness of I'd rather live somewhere else. I have to be reminded by the whiteboard, like when I wake up next door, it's right there. And there's what I got to do, my goals. I'm reminded. I can look back to other passages I've written in books and articles or a freestyle I did and just remind myself of the purpose of mission. Put it back on the burner. I know, I recognize those other thoughts. I just acknowledge them. Those suck. I didn't want those. I gotta create top mind awareness. Bring me back. Because, you know, we're all worthy. I'm worthy of the life I seek, and so is everybody else. So why don't we take a moment to tell ourselves that? How many times in the day you're like, you know what? I'm really proud of my growth. And I realize everybody's doing the best they can. No one's sitting in some evil laboratory at top mind awareness creating a, you know, program for your destruction. And even though times will come and create a top mind awareness of, let me live in the past and tell you that story of how this happened and relive it with emotion. So now I worry in the future about if I ever get myself from that place again, I won't be exposed. Instead of saying, everybody's doing the best they can, and life's not happening to me, it's happening for me. So I was asking people at the bars months ago, could you tell me a time in your life where words were spoken to you that you've never forgotten and you learned a life lesson? So I can learn that lesson and learn more about you. And that's usually met with a blank stare for a while. But when I've told this to two close people, one family, one non, completely opposite man and woman type of views on life, and they both said the same thing. Why do you want to know that? So you can use it against me? And this is a top mind awareness that I would never want to have. When you can read somebody's body language and feel it, you know it's true, like the girl in Starbucks I was telling you about. So I just had these conversations in Charlotte. I had really 3 great connections in Charlotte where the walls were broken down, and, you know, I had really substance conversations. And this older fellow at the first bar, I asked him that question, and he was like, don't ever go to bed angry, because you'll wake up like that. And I thought that was terrific advice. I had actually never heard that before. So it really made a lot of sense, because we're talking about creating a top mind awareness. And the first thing when your light flushes back in the particle into your body and you open your eyes, you don't want to be dwelling about last night's whatever the hell you're beating yourself up about. You couldn't sleep. That's not a top mind awareness where you want to live. So I was thinking, we're free to choose. Can be a human being or a human doing. Both lead home. Buckminster Fuller said, nothing about a caterpillar that says it's going to be a butterfly. Nothing about a caterpillar that says it's going to be a butterfly. I'd rather live there at a top mind awareness. Smile big, shine bright.